Good day, Internet. Today we are doing a detailed overview of what the Hunter has to offer for us. How do you like the design language?
Yeah, I like it. It's quite different from what we are used to from Royal Enfield.
Yeah,
Royal Enfield, immediately the first thing that comes to mind is big, heavy,
bulky.
slow,
Yes.
expensive in relative terms. So all these three, everything is relative. So these are all what comes to the mind. Let's find out if this changes our opinion about the typical Royal
Royal
Enfield.
Enfield. Yeah. So starting off with what I call the looks of
Yep.
it or the silhouette of the motorcycle, I think it's been perfectly well balanced, right? So you look at the short stubby tires, I think it's one of the first motorcycle to come with a 17-inch for a Royal Enfield.
For a Royal Enfield, yeah, 17-inch, it's proportionate.
Yeah,
The tank, the seat, the wheels, the overall looks, they work quite a lot on making sure the design flows. Everything is proportionately reduced in size.
yes,
There is nothing that kind of sticks out in a bad way.
Yeah.
The exhaust is also nice, short and stubby and sounds good.
true,
The mudguards are neat, compact.
yes.
A very urban looking motorcycle.
I feel this philosophy looks very young, looks very fresh.
Yeah. And done on purpose to attract a different segment of customers.
Yes.
So look wise, I like it.
Yeah, it's the same here because you start from here, you look at the tank, the air boxes, the rear mudguard. I think everything falls in neat, and even for the end user as well, the minute he grabs the handlebar, right, it makes it much more easier. The controls are perfectly in place. Yeah, we've got this, but again, I've not heard too much of complaints on these switches.
They don't look very great, but so far what we have heard from it started with the Meteor, this design
Yes.
about 2 years back.
Yes, exactly.
And then in the new Classic and here, so I guess functionally they are pretty okay, they work, nothing much to crib about. Yes, the finish could have been better, but
it's not flimsy.
That's what it's not flimsy.
It's not flimsy build. It does the job.
It looks very basic though.
Yeah, it looks basic, but does the job.
The levers are pretty good. They have a broad feel here, so it feels good on the hand, and they have done a good job here with the bolts.
Yes,
Normally there is a big nut, a
Yes.
bolt on top here.
exactly.
Here they given it flush and put an Allen. So
True.
little things have done. Yes, and there are some boo-boos they have done also. We will come to that. So we'll just talk about. So these are pretty decent. They feel good. The levers feel good. The switches also feel pretty decent.
And for me, they just fall into place. You don't need to reach out.
Not they need to search for it.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing unusual about it. Nothing much has changed radically anything here. So
True.
that's pretty decent. The pod is pretty decent.
Yeah, and even
got
the
the
adjustment
basic
for the
controls.
pod, it
Yeah.
just falls
Right, yeah.
simple.
No need to reach out to the
Exactly.
to the meter itself.
True.
So that's pretty good. The wheel design, the alloy designs are pretty good. It's got some nice Y-shaped design.
Yeah.
The foot pegs are small, good enough for the purpose it is designed for. The brake pedal is at the right place. So is the gear lever.
Yes.
Pillion seat is small. Why don't you and I try and sit on this? And we are. I am 5'9".
Yeah, roughly more or
Yeah,
less
about the same. I am 80 kilos. He's about 80 kilos. So let's see how two 80 kilo 5'9" people fit on this with the backrest.
Yes.
Okay, I feel okay.
We still have some space. We still have some room.
Yeah, I have room at the back. You could move back, but not too much. Mind it.
Yeah, I think this one, yes, we
Yeah,
can.
I'm kind of okay here. Yeah, I would like to have more space, but what do I think about it? I think it's pretty okay. How do you feel in the front? It's okay?
Yeah,
Manageable?
Yes, it's perfect.
That's about where you would normally be sitting, right?
Exactly. Yeah, when I'm doing a solo.
So I'm okay here. Now the plus on this is we got a backrest. So that's why I'm so comfortable sitting right at the edge of the seat. The stock motorcycle doesn't come with a backrest. It's an accessory. So without an accessory, I would probably have to get too close to CK, which I am not sure is a good idea. So yeah, so this is how two 5'9", 80 kilo gentlemen, if we can call ourselves that, would look like on this motorcycle. I think we dwarfed the motorcycle a bit. Hey, that's what it is. So we sitting on it gave a visual proportion of the size of the motorcycle. Why don't we get the X-Pulse
Yeah.
next to this to actually give a visual size of this motorcycle.
I'll just get my motorcycle then.
So this is it. This is the X-Pulse right next to the Hunter. So this, I'm sure, helps give you a better perception, the physical size of the Hunter.
Yes.
So it's quite obvious this motorcycle is compact and small. Yes, X-Pulse is not, it's a tall motorcycle for general standards, but since we see this motorcycle quite frequently on the road, for those who have not seen the Hunter, I hope this helps to give you a perspective of the size of the Hunter. So now going into a little more detail of the features and specifications. CK?
Yes,
you can start from the front.
Bosky, yeah, we start from the front. And if I look at it, this comes with a 17-inch 110 by 70 wheel made by Seat.
Yeah.
Grip looks pretty decent for the urban roads.
Yeah, street pattern.
Street pattern proper. Comes with a 300 mm disc, if my memory is right, and it also has your ABS in it. So I think this bike
dual channel ABS.
Has a dual channel ABS. The forks look good.
41 mm.
Pretty meaty. Beefier one at 41 mm. Comes with these rubber grommets just to ensure that the fork tubes don't take a hit from the pebbles that get thrown off. Headlight looks decently sized.
Halogen.
A halogen. Many people might crib about an LED, but for me it's all about functionality.
Yeah, I rode it last night. The low beam was pretty decent rectangle, and high beam was a pretty decent mushroom.
Okay.
Yes, LED is preferred. However, the LED on the X-Pulse is absolute bullshit. Pardon the language. It's terrible.
True.
It's rubbish. So it's not necessary that LED is always better than the traditional halogen or the old school halogens. It's how the light from the bulb is utilized.
True.
So in that aspect, this is pretty decent.
Yeah, and then it comes with a single pod instrument cluster. Now, one thing that I would want to call out is the lack of the tachometer. Fonts could have been better, or it's basic,
big and
simple
bold,
ones.
but it's basic. I would call the pod pretty basic.
Yeah.
Not too much of information, and that's okay. It does. After some time, the pod does not matter, to be honest.
And the thing is, like, it has a gear indicator in it, a fuel indicator as well. You get a trip A and you get a trip B as well. So
that's about it. Yeah.
It covers the basics.
It's got an eco, a small indicator. Basically, that is to indicate when we are being gentle on the throttle and when we are not being gentle on the throttle.
Okay.
So hard on the throttle, that eco light. I mean, it's not a light; it's just a display ECO that goes away. And when we are gentle on the throttle, it stays on. So
the master cylinder, O-wide, I think they started this with the Meteor, and it's come in here. And as you said, a 13-liter petrol tank with some nice knee recess in it, so that you can basically cling on to it.
This sticker looks like an afterthought.
Exactly.
Bad. This is a boo-boo.
True. I think that's one of my first that I noticed.
This white is different from this white. Not great. Could have been better. Is nitpicking and worth picking. So
yes,
that's
exactly.
Chrome on the cap.
True.
The color of the chrome of the cap and the chrome on the key cover.
Yes.
Keyhole cover is different.
True.
That's another boo-boo.
And even this sticker is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Ride, what is it on? Ride.
Right, yeah. Even here it says pure.
Okay, Ride pure. That's a tagline that Royal Enfield uses. Ride pure.
Okay, I thought it was pure ride.
Ride pure. Hashtag Ride pure is there in most of their
Insta handles, social media. Okay.
So nice stubby exhaust. Sounds pretty good.
And I think even this clutch cable, I think the setup looks pretty basic, but trust me, it becomes easy. If you suffer with a clutch cable malfunction, you can replace it yourself if you know how to do it.
This routing is a bit, it's another boo-boo. So
yeah, it stands out, I agree. It stands out.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I think from a functionality perspective, I think it's okay.
It's okay. The rear is a 270 mm disc.
Yeah.
Rear tire 140/70/17. Same, obviously the same by Seat. Pretty decent profile.
Yeah, has a adjustable rear suspension.
Yeah, for preload adjust only.
Yeah.
Regular looking indicators. Could they have been better? Yeah. Road clearance is around 150 mm. Less more, I don't know, depends on what sort of riding we do. I have ridden it about 22 kilometers. And in these monsoons, we all know how Bangalore roads are.
Yes.
It's in the news, it's on social media, a lot of memes on it too.
True.
Um,
You never
I didn't-
bottomed out. I think that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I didn't bottom out the suspension anywhere, nor did it hit. Yes, we have to take a little bit of care. That's okay. Not undue care or undue attention I had to be through. So it felt pretty decent.
And talking of the Indian roads, right? Stands out well.
Ouch.
Makes itself assertive.
Yeah, it's good. That's what is needed. You know, we need
Yes.
something loud. So the honest, I didn't notice that. So I guess that's a good thing you pointed out. So
Yep.
that's 181 kilos.
And that's pretty decent for
That's
Royal
pretty
Enfield.
decent. However, I really didn't feel that that weight.
True.
It's somehow packaged well. And the main reason I think is being the wheels. The smaller the wheel, the easier the motorcycle is to
Flick
handle.
around, yeah.
So once it handles well, I think the weight is kind of it's forgotten. I didn't feel it was 180 kilos. It's 30 kilos heavier than the X-Pulse.
Yes, I think X-Pulse 157.
25 kilos at least
Yes.
heavier.
Yes.
Did not feel that 20. We couldn't feel the
True.
25 kilos. So
True.
that way it's balanced out pretty well. I think all the weight is here. Most of the weight is here, so I guess it sits a bit low, and the smaller wheels, the whole CG being low, has given the motorcycle a good feel on the road.
True.
Yeah.
Bosky, you mentioned when we were talking of the ground clearance, you mentioned about riding some kilometers in the city.
Yeah.
So how was the rideability for you?
Rideability, engine-wise.
Yeah.
Coming to speaking about engine-wise rideability, this is the same 20 bhp, 27 Newton meter engine that is on the Classic and the Meteor.
Meteor.
The interesting part about that engine is the 27 Newton meter is produced at 4000 RPM.
Okay.
Now that is pretty low in the
Yes.
rev range.
Yes.
Very low in the rev range. The 19 bhp is at 6100 RPM.
Okay.
So 6100 RPM is the peak power output. 7000 is a red line. So basically you have to wring its neck to get the BHP
Get
out.
to the BHP out.
However, the torque,
Yeah.
which is what gives a rideability of the motorcycle,
True.
it's at 4000 RPM. So I checked it out. First gear, second gear, up to 20 kilometers per hour. Yeah, I can drop it into third after 20.
20. And it lugs around.
Yeah, it lugs around. Typical.
And there is no miss in that.
No shudder, no jerking, no. The fueling is excellent
Spot
at
on.
low speed.
Okay.
Then at 30, I could go into fourth gear,
Oh wow. Okay.
and just about 30, and accelerate. It gently it pulls away. It doesn't have that shudder. So it's because we don't have a tach, so I really don't know what RPM, which is okay. I mean that's what it is. We have to work with it.
True.
Then into fifth at 40. So I could drop it into fifth at 40, and then from 40 roll on. It obviously goes all the way up to 100 or whatever it does. Claimed 112, 113 kilometers top speed. So it rolls from 40 to 100. 100 is pushing it. I say 90. 40 to 90 in fifth gear. Roll on, roll off, roll on.
Okay.
So that way the rideability is brilliant. We may not be able to use fifth gear in city much.
Okay.
So I would say in Bangalore, typically heavy, bad traffic. Third gear from 20 to 60.
60, 70.
It's
It
so
comes
minimal
in.
gear
Okay.
change is required. So at 20 in third, then roll on, it pulls, it pulls,
Okay.
it pulls. So that torque at 4000 RPM.
And I agree with you, Basky, because in the city, I don't think you're going to do a top speed. Neither are you going to do a 0 to 100 speed check. 90% of the bike's engine, I think you're going to spend in its mid-range.
Yes, mid-range and bottom end. So
That's about it.
I enjoyed riding it. I didn't have to frequent gear changes were not required, and I kind of pushed it a little to see what it can do. So
it can do,
from
yeah.
20 onwards in third, gentle. I like it, and the gear shifting was very clear. It shifts very positively.
True.
There are no grey.
There's no grey
areas in between. It's positive. It goes
True.
click, click.
Because when I rode this bike in the morning,
Yeah.
it was very firm, reassuring. It was not hard.
Now we got here, you were on the X-Pulse, I'm on this.
Yes.
On your X-Pulse, then we swapped a little.
Exactly.
So I rode the X-Pulse. In the X-Pulse, it doesn't go click, it goes click.
Exactly.
Click. There is some,
Yeah,
roughness in
you
between
feel that
the
gruffness in it,
gruffness.
but in this it's
Yeah.
like smooth.
So it's a proven engine anyway. It's been around for a couple of years and people are happy. And mileage is around 31 to 32
Yeah, which
on
is
the
very decent.
in city on the Classic and the Meteor. I have not tested this. You can be quite sure it will give 31 to 32, if not a little more.
Boski, how did you feel the brakes? Are they reassuring?
I am glad you brought that up. Front brake is as usual pretty okay. It's got a progressive feel and can operate with two fingers.
Okay.
It's got a good broad lever here, so using 2 fingers was good enough.
Okay.
I was happy with the rear. Now,
Interesting for a motorcycle.
Yeah, I was happy with the rear. The way I tested it was only using the rear brake to stop the motorcycle. So there is a certain amount of retardation that
Yes.
I can feel. So this had very good retardation. Harder I press on it, it slowed the motorcycle down more.
Okay.
On the X-Pulse, it requires a lot. There is some retardation only when I support it with the front. Actually, the motorcycle comes to a stop. It's the same on the V-Strom also.
Yep.
So many motorcycles are predominantly dependent. All motorcycles are there. Every two-wheeler is dependent on the front bias, and the rear the effectiveness is at a certain level, which we accept and we live with it. This is actually better. Okay. The rear bias is better because the harder, it was actually able to come to a quick stop only with the rear.
Okay.
So that speaks not just about the brakes, it's not about giving a 500 mm disc at the back, right? It's about braking.
True.
It's the disc, the geometry, the weight distribution, the tire, the suspension. So it's a combination of all that.
I will keep an eye on this.
Yeah, you try it out when you ride.
Yeah.
Use only the rear. However, we keep doing that, we're going to wear out the rear brake pads in no time.
True.
So it's always good to use it in a combination. This is just to indicate the effectiveness of the rear brake.
And how were your suspensions?
Suspension.
Were you happy with it? Did you bottom out anywhere?
It did not bottom out. There's something good about this. It's got a progressive feel. Normally, there are enough ruts in Bangalore today to send it into, and I did send it into a few, some on purpose, some pure by accident. I had no option. I sent it into some bad potholes. It did bottom out. It did not give that
jarring effect.
Yeah, that it didn't go bang.
Yeah, and it didn't transfer
it seems to have that last bit of firm cushioness in it. It didn't go that slam, right into the bottom of the spring.
Boom, and then it transfers to your arms.
That didn't happen. I'll ride it a little more to find out, but this is the initial because running it into potholes regularly is not good riding. So
True.
I did search for a few. So into those potholes, I felt the rear got unsettled a bit, which is we can handle a bit of unsettled rear, but the front seemed pretty decent performance. Rear could have been better. It's a bit jittery on ruts. It's a bit moves around.
It moves around. Okay. And how was your actual steering in low speeds?
Steering is good.
Because I understand the bike once when you get into the 30s and 40s, very, very flickable. But then when you're less than that, you use more of the handlebar to do it rather than nudging it by the seat.
Didn't have to use much. It's pretty maneuverable at low speed. So I was not going doing all these things. So I surprised myself with my abilities of balancing at low speeds.
That's good.
The whole motorcycle I'm like this,
Yeah, it's a very compact thing.
It felt pretty decent riding. It's okay. It's okay. Nothing to complain or praise.
Good.
What did you think about the handling?
Handling for me,
suspension, engine, and all that.
Yeah, the suspension for me in the morning when I swapped over from the X-Pulse to this, it's like quite a lot of difference, to be honest. But since the roads were empty, and I think I was doing around 50s and 60s, the road ruts, the gaps in between, the bridges, you have that small joints, right?
Joints.
At 50 or 60 speed, I just could not get a feel of it. So the suspension properly set up for a road biased version of it. Higher speeds, I'm not sure. Lower speeds, I think, as you said, my notes are exactly the same. The rear kind of gets unsettled quicker compared to the front. How how big is the impact on your pocket?
Pricing is quite interesting. The retro is 191 400 in Bangalore.
Comes with the spoke wheels.
Spoke wheel, single channel,
Single-channel.
and some knickknacks missing. This is 199, is less than 2 lakhs.
Wow.
So 8,000 rupees goes in. That's why they have saved the money.
And for that 8,000,
I would go for. I mean, I would any day pick up this for 8,000 rupees.
you
Dual
get a
channel.
dual channel, yeah.
You get alloy wheels.
Yes, which are basically tubeless tires.
Yeah, tubeless tires.
Right.
And the dual tone. I think that's the only difference between this and the next model.
Okay.
That's 208.
Okay.
Yeah, 2,08,000. So
Okay, so it comes with the dual. I've seen the blue and the
yeah,
white.
it's got it's split this way.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is one color and this is another color.
Okay.
There are two things that are accessories on this motorcycle: the seat
Yeah.
and the backrest.
Uh,
These two are extra. Now, the stock seat, the foam in the stock seat is not great. We rode it
Yes.
a couple of weeks back when we did that first impression, and within 10 minutes we could feel the difference between the stock seat and the touring seat. So this costs a little bit of extra money. I do not know how much it costs, but we will find out and plug it in our video.
I think if I were to buy, I think I would go for a mid variant.
Yeah.
The gap between the top variant, I think you've been telling it's a good 8 to 10,000.
8,000,
And that difference of money, I would just plow it back to the motorcycle, put in the touring seat.
199, 700 or 800.
Yeah, and
Get
that's
this,
208.
Put in a touring seat,
Yeah.
put in a backrest, change the
Mirrors
mirrors, a leg guard and a sump
and
guard.
some kind, and I'll be done with it.
Yeah, that's around
Simple.
dual tone paint. No, I like this. I like
Motorcycle.
this. Yeah.
So end of the day, who do you think are the ones who's going to pick up the motorcycle?
Yeah, my opinion is as good as the manufacturer's opinion. We all have opinions. Manufacturer can make a motorcycle for somebody and somebody else will buy it.
Buy it, true.
We can talk about all kinds of things and somebody else will do something else with it. Yeah, at this point in time, with what little we know and what I have seen, this will appeal to people who are 5 feet, 5'1", 5'2", 5'3", 5'4".
Okay.
So for them, this is non-intimidating. The
Okay.
height, the seat height is 790 mm,
Yeah, I think it's one of the lowest.
one of the lowest. So 790 mm, easy to flat foot. Every other Royal Enfield is perceived and is to an extent heavy, costs more, big.
Big, yeah.
So these three are put-offs for people who are in that height range. That is the physical attribute. Money, yes, anybody will like to buy something that costs less, right? So
True.
I guess there is no question of how big anyone's pocket is. So that is my opinion. So I guess everybody's got an opinion. Finally, the market will decide. 6 months, 1 year, we will know who bought it, and we could be proved completely wrong.
Okay. So, Bosky, overall, how do you want to summarize and wind it up?
Good effort by Royal Enfield.
Yeah.
The market will decide.
Exactly. I think that's what even I would call it out. All right. So that should be good enough to call it a day.
Yes,
Bosky?
we shall call it a day. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Thank you for joining us from the Cheetah Point. Take care.
One more boo-boo.
Yeah.
What is this big bolt?
Looks very ungainly, right?
Yeah, one big industrial size bolt. It is a swing arm bolt, obviously.
True.
They could have done with a little covers to give it a
cap
little more
or
aesthetic.
something,
It
yeah.
looks like something has fallen off from here.
True.